So now when you check the platform, we have the materials there. So I'm moving to the next one. Okay. So I'm moving to the next one. That is this. Okay, so I'm moving to the next one. So I have already opened them soon. So we look at reviewing the Python types. Okay. That I've given anything that you see, okay, pay attention to that. And yeah, you carefully. Now with this one, we are saying usually you can also double click the file in your File Explorer 2. Okay. And the operating system make the to Python. Okay, and run the program automatically. Okay, however, this often results in the program opening, completing, and the window closing again before you can see the. Okay, so you may prefer to choose type. Okay, well, sometimes you can double click on, if it's a Python file and double click on it, it can open like the way I have. Let me see last time what we did on our desktop. Let's see this on my desktop. Yeah. We did PMC. Okay. So now you see this is the Python file. So if I double click on, you see that it will open. Okay. It will. Okay. It's taking time. But then that's what when you double click it to open. Right? You see that it just opening. But this one have in another editor. That's why it's open with the editor. Okay. But if not this editor, open with the command prompts. But because I have other editor, this editor Tony has just as default. You can see TH Tony. So that's why it's open with the. But if like didn't have any, just like it's open with the command prompt there. So, but then we will not focus on that. So where our focus now is to use the command prompt to run. So you have your Python here, then the file name, okay, and then this will run whatever that you have. For instance, when you come here, I will come and type say, first thing I need to move to the directory. So I'll do the cd desktop, and then our folder name, what we just did on our desktop, if you know, is PMC. So I'll do cd PMC. Okay, so and now I'm there, so I'll do ls, that is list. So I should see what I have here. You can see the bar. So and now I can type Python. Type Python my script. So my script is py, and this will run the file for me. So you could see that I have hello world. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's what we have.
The CD, I thought you use it when you are creating the directory. So if you want to, which is you are creating the folder, But if you want to access it, you go through the same process again.
Okay, so CD change directory means that you use the CD to move through directory, like the way I'm using my mouse to open and do. So
Oh,
for
the CD
command, you
rather
use
is
your
what
CD
change directory, not create.
directory. No, to create means MK.
Okay, make.
Make directory. So DI is directory.
Okay.
Okay, is directory. So make directory means that I can now have a new folder, like maybe Kin. Okay, and once I click on this one will create. So you can see that I've created a new folder here called Kin.
Okay. Mm.
Okay, that is just to make a directory, but to move through a directory. So now here I can open that directory. Okay, CD, and then I will type Kin just to move through the directory. So you see change directory. Okay, so now you see that I'm inside Kin. If I do ls, there's nothing in. And if I want to move back to, now you can see that I can move backwards to PMC. So that I'll do CD, then dot. Okay, so that will take me back to my already PMC. So now if you are look ls, you could see that I have my.
Okay.
Okay, I hope it's clear now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So last we went through this, and then I told you there are two important functions that you need to know. Okay. One is the help function. Okay. And then there is the there function. Okay. So what we that Python within Python you can have access to a lot of libraries online. Okay, so what makes Python easy that you don't need to write everything from scratch. Okay, a lot of things have been done for you. So your case is to just to look for a particular what you are doing, the library that can easily help you to do your work, and then you import it into your system or your code, and you use that. So sometimes you might not know the documentation behind the library well. Okay, so you can have the help function here to be able to know a lot about that. And then this one, del means that the package that you've imported into your system, you can use the del with the package name, and it will give you a lot of information, the content. Like when I did the del here, the directory, you could do it like this del. Okay, it will list what you have there. Okay, so in the same way, you can have your within your program, use the del, and it will show whatever that you have in that directory.
Okay, so then the ls and the there works in the same way.
Yeah, ls and the del works in the same way, but when in coding you use del. Okay, but the ls is more of Linux. Okay, some of the command that I'm using to Linux is the same thing, like make directory, change directory, cd, move backwards, it's the same thing. So I telling you that some of those commands will not work with command prompts like this. If I open this, let's say cmd, sorry, cmd. So with cmd, this one will not work. Okay, so I'm with cmd, it will not work. So now Microsoft wants to just break the gap. Okay, so they brought something that is Linux. So those who love the Linux can easily use Windows 2 as well with their command. So now this is this. Okay,
so Linux is from Microsoft.
No, I'm seeing that Linux is open source. Okay, within the Linux operating, you can have Ubuntu, you can have Red Hat, there are lots, Fedora, there are lots of them. But I'm seeing it that now Microsoft want to bridge the gap between like if I'm used to Linux and now I want to use Windows to do my work or stuff, I should get a live editor that I have the same platform like Linux, so that I can write my code. Okay, those who love that will not like the interface much. They still want to use their command. So that is where PowerShell can give you that Linux feel. Okay, so here if I do ls, do you see what it came here?
Yeah.
It's not what recognize what internal, but if I see it there, it will recognize it. Do you get it?
Yeah.
If so that's the difference. Okay, so you can't use that in this field. Okay, but when it comes to change directory and all those things, it's the same thing. So if I do cd dash, so you can see that I've moved back.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that one is the same, but just a little ls and stuff. Ls, we can't use ls with normal command prompt, but some of the make directory is the same thing. I can use make directory here and it will work because it's still that in this Windows allow no dr, this one it knows, but it doesn't know ls. Okay, so that is the difference here. Okay, so for us, I prefer we using the PowerShell because that is very flexible and do a lot of stuff. So once you are used to, and later on you want to go into Linux, you'll be okay because some of the things you are already used to. Okay. So now here, this is what I was talking about, that there are two important libraries that a function you need to take note. Okay. The first one is there. Okay, that's D, which is directory. Okay. And then the second one is help. Okay. It helps us to about what we'll be doing. Okay. So like last told you that Python is what object-oriented programming language. So everything we think in terms of what objects. Okay, so maybe if you declare a variable and all those things, you need to, when you declare a variable is just what a label. Okay, so the value that is the object. So if my object is int object, is a string object, that will tells me the types of data or the types of variable that I've created. Okay, so one thing that we need to take note. So whatever that you see here, that's what it means within this space. Okay, then let's look at the type as well. So like I said, we have different data types that you can get from Python, like int, like float. So int is coming from number. Okay, so within the number we have integer and float. And I said integer is a whole number. So any number without a decimal point is an integer. Okay, so don't classify it as int. And then any number with a decimal value or a decimal point is classified as a float. Okay. So that is the type that you okay. So when you have that,
So the int
gives you
are
the type.
whole numbers, and then
Int are
decimal
whole,
numbers are floats.
decimal numbers are floats. Okay. And then anything within a quote. So if I have, let's say I've written my name, anything within a quote is termed as a string. Okay, so when you have anything within a quote can be a single quote, double quote, or triple quote. It's termed as a string. Okay. There are a lot going through them, and then we have a collection. So now for basic, if you maybe want more information about it, you can do this document.python.org. Then the version, Python version, Python 3, you can have, and you can get a lot of information about what I'm talking about. they have a manual. You can get a lot of information about it. Okay. Now, to program, like the same, you have your pen drive. What do? We store data, and you can retrieve and use it later. So within your program too, you need a where you can store data or you can store information. Okay. So a temporary storage, that where you store your data, we call it a variable. Okay, so you need to create a variable. Variable simply means a memory space where you can store data. Okay, but then within your memory space, you can store
What
data.
did you call a label? You said something is a label.
Okay, a label is what I'm saying is the variable, and I'm saying the variable. This one is a label, just a name I'm giving. Okay, but what makes give exact this name, like you can have a car, but the collective name is a car, right? But what make a car is the brand that you have. Okay, so Toyota is different from Mercedes. Okay, so depending on what makes that brand that makes that car a different car. But apart from that, all collectively we call them cars. Okay, so these ones we call variable or maybe a label. But what makes it a different label is the object. That is the value. Okay, so we have the value, the variable is here, and the value. So what we say is that we assign a value to what? A variable. Simply means that we are installing a value inside what? A variable that we can call it later. Okay, so what we are saying here is that the name is just what? A label. Okay, and as such it can be reassigned to a completely different what? Object. The same name, I can assign it to a different object, but the different is the object that I'm placing is the same as you have a bowl. You can place rice inside a bowl. Okay, but at that point, rice is inside is given a different name because you can say, give me the rice bowl, right? If it's fufu that is inside, say that give me what? Fufu's what? Bowl. So that makes the difference. The value that changes what? The variable type. Okay, so that's what we, and to assign a value to a variable, we use the equal sign. So in programming, this equal that you see here, we don't call it equal, we call it assign. Okay, so assign, so we assign a value to a variable. So if my value is here, I could see if I assign a value of 10 to a variable, maybe number 1. Okay, so that anytime I call number 1, I'll get a value inside number 1. I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Okay, so that is example here. Like I said, if you also want to equal sign, like we see that these two equal sign, the double equal sign. Okay, double equal sign is different. It means that we are seeing that this equal object, like you want to check the identity of a number. Okay, so whether this is same as this. So if you want to do that, we use the equal sign to do that. Okay, and if you want to check object identity, that is if two names refer to the same object. Okay, that is, we use ace. Okay, ace means that check the identity, whether, okay, are you a male or are you a female, your identity. But if I want to check the content you have, are you having the same food, are you having the same, like you use the equal. Okay, so the equal, just equality. These two signs is for what? Equality. Using the double sign is for equality. And if I use ace, I'm talking about the identity. So you want to check object identity. So that's the two thing here be using, but just want you to know the difference. S is for identity, 2 equals is for equality. Okay. And then 1
So,
equals
for
sign.
example, if
Mhm.
a variable, a value actually is 10, and another value is 10, then you can use the double equal to sign. For example, if one variable is called Ni, the other variable is called Kingsley, but both of them, their values are 10, you can say Ni equals Kingsley, and it will say true.
True, they will say true. That is the Boolean. Okay. Okay. So let's this one here. So for now we understand what a value and what a variable is, right? So we assign a value to a variable. So now let's come to this point. You can see this code here. I will just copy this line. Okay. So you can see I have a different variable here, but you check that is the same value is the same. If you check value is the same but different what variable name.
Kingsley, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, sleep small. Why sleep small? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So now I've copied this one. Okay. So first thing is I need to move my interpreter. Work with my interpreter interactive mode, the share mode. So I'll type my Python. So sorry. Okay, so I'll type Python here and move. So now this is one variable. I'll hit enter. Okay, so I've assigned the value of I love spam to a string. Okay. Then I want to assign another one that is this, which is another string with the same value.
So a string is the variable. Another string is also a variable, and the values are I love spam and I love spam.
Yes, I love spam. Okay, so now let's move on to the next file. So with the next file, I have another value. Okay, and this value is 6. Okay, and then I have a value for int and int. So let me copy and then run it within my shell. Okay, so we run this, and then you can see here there's a difference that you see that this is another variable, but then the value is the assigned this variable to it. I hope if you can see.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So here we want to check for equality. So now you can see that a string equal to another string. Okay. So when you see a string to equal to another string, let's see what are we expecting.
That it will
Is
be.
a string.
You're expecting that it will be the same.
Will be the same. So we're expecting that the answer should be true, right?
Yeah.
So that you see true because the value for both is the same. Okay. So they all have the same value. So it doesn't matter the the different name. Okay, but once the content is the same, I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's see. And then we are seeing that a string is another string. So a string is another string here. It's false. Why?
I think that their values are not the same.
No, the values are the same.
The values are the same.
Yeah, because we just did it here. If you are using the equal sign, it's the same value as you can see here. It's the same.
Oh yeah, the values are the same. Okay, the is not asking for the quality of the values, asking for what? The content.
We are talking about the state. Okay, so we are talking about the identity. But you will see that here, I think later on when we move, maybe you will get to know more. But we are talking about the storage. So if here, this one will be storing the same in a different memory space. Okay, compared to this one will a different memory space. So it will not be the same. So memory space address will not be the same. So here you could see that a string here is a variable name. Okay, and then this value that let me use here, I think here that will get it. Now a string here is a variable name, and this value that is occupy a memory space. Okay, so the memory address that is given here is different, and this is another string. It's also going to occupy another memory space. Okay, with a different memory address. Okay, but if I want to check equality, that is the value that it contains is the same. Okay, but if I want to check the okay, the identity that is where the memory that is occupied, it will not be the same because individually it will store at a different what location.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, can we
So
go
that is
back to, do me a favor, go back to the notes. Let's go
okay.
back to then.
With the notes here,
No.
it
I
says
mean,
that
then let's go to the previous page
yeah, here, right?
where there is.
Yeah, I'm seeing that the double the you can test a value for equality using what double equal sign. So you are testing equality is what makes it equal is its value, not the
Yeah,
variable. Do you get it? We are checking
yeah,
the variable, not the value, not what the variable. I hope
I
you
get
get
it.
me.
I get it. So then the identity is what? The identity is the name of the variable.
No, the identity is the refer to the object. Okay, so we are saying the object identity. That is, if two names refer to the same object. Okay. If two
Okay, I
names
get it now.
that is refer to the same object is compared using the is operator as shown. That is the identity. They are all referring to the same word object, like the same object, but then it will not be the same. But those information that you are supposed is not there. But I'm just telling you that the
I get it.
reason why it's false, memory that is occupying is not the same. Okay.
Okay.
So now here we could see that we have what we have false. So let's check for another. Now I have this. Okay. So we could see that and equal to what int alias. Okay, that is the same. Okay, so that should also be true. Okay,
yeah,
you get it. So if we check
yeah,
this one, it should be as true.
I get it.
So if I check this one, oh sorry, this one should be true. Okay, and then you will see that when we check the states, okay, we say the an int is int alias. It's also when we are also checking the object identity. Do you see the object identity? Why is it true?
So they are the same.
Why? Yeah, because we are referring to the memory space.
Yeah.
Okay, because this here is the memory space that it occupy, the address, the memory address that this variable occupy. We assign the same address. Okay, so when you are assigning a variable, you are not saying the variable name, but in reality, is the address that we are assigning it back to this. Okay, so now you could see that the address here, you see the name, but in reality, in Python, to detail is the address that has been assigned to alias here. So when you check it, state identity, object identity, it will be true because it's not a different address. But here you see that this one is going to store with a different address, and this one will store with a different address. If I compare the states, it will be false because they all contain different address. Okay, if I use the same this one, and then I store the variable, I use the variable to assign it to another variable, I'm assigning that address to this variable. So definitely each state is the same that you are referring to. Do you get? So normally we use this one to help to minimize the memory leakage. Okay, and use sometimes not to consume more memory. You can use the same, assign the same variable and to another if you are referring to the same thing. So you don't create another one the same thing that you are. So you can see here, this one is the waste of memory because we are dealing with the same content. So if you want to another, why do you create you just refer the same one, this one here, so that it will use the same memory address, not consuming another memory address.
Yeah. I get
So
it.
that is different. Okay, but the value, the content is the same. Okay, so we move to the next point here, which is that in terms of Python, anything that you create, you sometimes you can alter, sometimes you cannot alter. So to alter, we are using the word mutable and immutable. Okay, so immutable means a variable can be a value can be changed. Okay, and immutable means that once a value has been created, it cannot be altered. Okay, so it means that you cannot change it or its content. So you see that the type is immutable. It means you can't change an object of that type once it's created. Okay, so what it means that any a variable that contain an object which is immutable, you cannot alter its element. Okay, so you can only assign it to another variable, but you can change its elements. Okay, so that is it. And then if you have immutable, immutable, then it means that you can change. For instance, a list is mutable. It means that you can change its elements. Okay, dictionary is mutable. You can change its elements. A tuple is immutable. It's a tuple. You can't change its elements. So we go into details and you understand why we cannot change some of them. Okay. So now the next point. So I just want to take note of these ones. They are very crucial. What we get it in terms of the memory state and all those things. Just take note of them. Mute and these are points you should take note of them. And then we move on to another point where we see the collection type. Okay, so Python is having a collection type. They see we are dealing with the variable, but some of the variables are called collection type because they fall under sequences. Okay, so for instance, if I have a list can have a sequence, meaning that you can iterate over it up. Okay, iterate means that you can loop. Okay, so if you talk about sequence, it means that it follow a particular pattern. So I can have a list of numbers, a list of names, a list of, so it follows a sequence. Okay, so if I want to print, you okay, so we were this is where I've gotten to. Okay, now in programming we have what we call casting. Okay, casting, that is CASTING. Okay, casting. See that we can change one state to another state. Okay, so maybe a floating point state, I can change it to a state. Okay, and then I can also string state to maybe integer state. Okay, you can change a state to integer state. Okay, so what we see is that anything decimal, okay, anything decimal is a okay, anything whole is an integer, anything within a quote, a single or double quote is what? A string. Okay, and then we also true value are what? Boolean. Okay, get this. Okay, then we can build it up. Okay,
can you
so
explain
let's test
again?
this. I'm seeing that anything true or false is Boolean. Okay, anything true or false is Boolean. Now, anything that the number zeros and ones are what? Boolean. Okay, zeros and ones represent Boolean because zero means what? False, and one means
true. Yeah,
okay.
you mentioned.
That's what. And if I assign maybe empty a string, okay, to a boolean, okay, simply means it will be false. Okay, if you assign anything to a boolean is true. Okay, because we know that one true when it comes to boolean, and anything empty, which is zero, anything empty means. So if I have empty string, it's zero. So anything zero to boolean is what? To boolean is
The Boolean, yes.
boolean. is false, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's see. So with the type function, I will just do something like this. So I have number, number 1. Okay, I will assign it to a variable. Okay, I have number underscore 2.
Why did you use underscore?
Okay, for variable naming, okay, you cannot I can decide to say number 1, but I like this convention to me. Okay, but we have a way of naming a variable. We can't start with a number. I can't do something like, wait, let me finish this. I can't say maybe 1. We can't start a variable with a number. So let's say number 1. Okay, and assign it to this. It will be wrong. You see that invalid syntax. It means you can't start a variable name with a number. Okay, but then I can do number 1. Okay, and then see this. That is acceptable. Okay, but I prefer underscore. Okay, and then you can also not use hyphen. This is underscore. I cannot see number. We will do the naming convention, so maybe that one I will take time and explain. So now here I can say number 1 like this, and I assign it to a variable like this. It will also be wrong. You cannot assign to what operator. Do you get it? How will you get it? Because you use this as an operator. Okay, so when you do that, it sees like operator. Okay, no minus. Okay, so that's operator. So operator means maybe operating sign like minus and stuff. So it won't pick that when you do that. And then if I can't start with a special character like maybe $, and then I say number. Okay, let's say 5. You can see the invalid syntax. Okay, but I mostly prefer using the underscore. Okay, I like this convention. Okay, but we will do a variable
There's
naming
special
convention.
advantage to that.
Yeah. It makes it clear to me that I know that okay, this is a letter, this is a number. Okay.
I get
Instead
it.
of when it make here, sometimes you see like L if you don't take care. Okay. So just to avoid that, I just separate it and then makes clear to me. Okay. Yeah. So this is what we have here. So now I've just done the number 2, and then a float. And let me do a name. Let's say name, and I'll assign it to a string called King. Okay, and then I'll do a boolean, maybe is underscore mar. Is underscore girl. Let me do this, and then assign to true. Okay, and then is underscore boy. Now send. Okay, so now if I want to know exactly what this data type is. Okay, you know, I can do that by using the type function. So you see here we have the type. What we are saying, the type of an integer is int. Okay, here we are saying it's 8. No, how will you know? So every integer, so we say that anything whole is an integer. So I'm expecting this. So if I can see that print, and then I'll check for number 1, number underscore 1. Okay, what I just did, number underscore 1. And to do that, I'll use the type function to check the type of what state. Okay, the variable. So number underscore 1. So I'm expecting integer. Okay, so you could see that class was 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is an integer. Now the next one was this, and we see that anything decimal is what? A float. So I'm expecting that should be a float. So I'll change here to 2, and then I'll see what? A float. Do you get it? And then we say that anything a quote, either a single or double quote, is what? A string. Okay, so let's see. So we want to check the type here. I should see name. So what do you have here? You see that is what? A string, right?
Yeah.
And we see that anything true or false is also for what? A boolean. Okay, so let's test that. So now we have here, and then I'll test this and say is underscore girl. So is underscore girl will be bool, which is boolean. Okay, it's clear now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we have. Now we see that you can change one state to another. Okay, you can change one state to another. Change one state to another. You use the int class. Okay, like I told you that this we see is a class. So how will you know that we are dealing with a class? And that's where we need to use the first function that I told you when we started. I said that we need to understand what you use the help function and the del function. Okay, so for instance, we want to check what is inside, what this one is about. Let's say we are dealing with the integer, so let's focus on the integer. So I'll go to number underscore 1. Okay, and then I'll change this one to first, and I'll do del. Del is going to give me the directory, that is the integer directory. So I'll know maybe different function that they have there. So you see that there are a lot of functions there, if you can see. So it's like you can see it has a class. So you can see you can use for addition, add. Okay, so the integer can use for add, we can use it for floats, can use it for modulo. Okay, you can use for the power, raise the power, radiant, you can run. So there are a lot of functions there that we can use the integer for. Okay, we have the seal, we have the bool, we have, so all these things are within the folder. So the directory is just a folder. So now I just open the integer class folder using the directory. Okay, now we want to check.
Means all the previous things we've done are inside that directory.
Yeah, they are inside that directory. They're inside that directory. So that's where I'm able. So now when you declare a number like this, we've assigned a value to number 1. So now the value that we assign to number 1 is what? It's an integer. So now a variable 1 here is a state, is an object. That is an object. And what type of object is that? It's an integer object. That's what we checked here. Then we realized that it was an integer class. Okay. And the class is having a different methods within that. So these are the methods that you see here that goes into it. So if we want to see how this has been constructed, then we can use the help function. Okay, so instead of the directory, I put in the help function here. Okay, so this one is going to give us a lot of information. So now you can see that the int is a class object. Okay, so it means that it can assign a value to a value. So here is a parameter. For now, you may not understand that. So it can accept a data. So that's why when you have int, I can place something here and you can convert it to what? Integer. So whatever you place here will be converted to what? Integer. So if I place a string here, it will be converted to what? Integer. If I place a boolean there, it will convert to what? Integer. Okay, so you can get the base 10 to what? Integer. So if you place in, let's say, octa inside, it's going to convert it to what? Integer. So you can see here, okay, and then it will convert it to what? Base 0, which is what? An integer. So now you can see here 1004, it will give you 4 in the binary. If you remember binary, yeah, 1004, it will be 4 to convert it to. So then if I have 101, it's 5, right? So when you convert, give you 5. Okay, so that is what it means. And the boolean, you can see have a built-in boolean class, you can absolute value. So there are a lot of methods in there. So it's a class object. Okay, so that's why I said that anything about Python, you should think in terms of what? A class. And the class is having what? A method that makes the class perform certain things that it does. So you could see here, you could use for multiplication, addition, subtractions, and all those things. Okay, so now let's see how we change that. So now this is what? This is a string. So what I just did, now you understand that the int here is a class object, okay? And the class, you can use it to get so many things. From here, you can see this one. This is an octagon, that's base 16. So when you convert base 16, you get this. This is the value for as what? Integer value from base 16. Okay. So it's so clear. It's once you understand, you could do a whole lot of stuff. So let's come to our work here. Let's go to where we were before. So now here we just did some work. I've assigned a value to this. If you can see what we did, I created a boolean for here. Okay, what we were checking, I have is girl, is this. So let's see how we can convert that. Okay, so I have a float. So if I want to convert this float, you can see here, this is what? Point what? 0 is same as a float. So let's see how you can convert that. So to convert a float to convert a float, you can write this and say int. Okay, and then in front of that we place the value. So for instance, we've already declared number what? Number underscore 2. Number underscore 2 is a float, right? So if this one, it came as 6. Okay, and we know that 6 is an odd, is integer, right?
Integer, yeah.
And then we also can do the boolean. So the boolean, what I did was the number was what? Is underscore what? Girl. So we want to convert that is underscore girl, and we will see is underscore girl, you see that came as 1. Why 1?
Because that's the assigned value.
No, the assigned value was true, but we see that when you convert a true, it will give you 1 because integer, because 1 means true.
1 means true and 0 means false.
Yes. Let's see the false. The false was what? What did I use for false? It's girl, right? Or let's see, what did I use? Okay, I use
It's boy.
okay, I use it is boy. So now let's see. I'm expecting 1. Okay, so you say int is boy. So you see that came as what? 0. Clear. So this tells you this, so you can convert any state. So if for instance the state is a string, so I have a string here, and we say that anything within the quote is what? A string. So I have a number here. Let's 1, 2, 3. So it's a string, right? If I convert this one, you will see that it will come as what? It will come as 1, 2, 3 as a number. Okay.
Which is an int.
Which is an int. Which is an int. But here, if I check the type from here, if I check the type here, I place this one in type function. Let's see, type. I'm expecting it to come as what? Let's print it so that you will see that it will come as a class int because I've placed this one inside what? Okay, I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if I remove the int, oh. If I remove the int, it comes as what? A string. So any quote is a string, but you can convert a string to what? Integer by placing the int there. Okay, so that's what we've done. That is the conversion type. You can get it so many ways. And then we've talked about the boolean, which I've explained to you that bool, this is the bool, this is the bool. So when you do any bool type, it will come, okay, either true or false value, it will give you that. So basically, that is what you term as the number. So once you understand Python in that category, now you will be able to write a proper code because now you know that everything that you'll be dealing with, you'll be dealing with a class, to have that one in mind because Python itself, that is the syntax is structured in terms of class, everything. So you can see the variable, everything is structured like class. So when you have object-oriented programming in mind, that you could do a whole lot of stuff. Okay. Now, the next point that I want us to look at is this one. In addition to the Boolean type, Python also supports a bitwise Boolean operation on integers. Okay. So that is to say Python treats each corresponding pairs of bits within 2 integers as a Boolean value. So what I want you to know that when you are doing the programming, we have what we call a logical operation. Okay, so logics means that based on each condition, I can combine two or more conditions together. So we use the AND, this AND here. AND operation means that if I combine condition, both condition must be true for the statement to be true. Hello?
I'm here.
Yeah, okay. So both statements must be true. Okay. So this AND here, in bitwise, we use the AND, this sign, this sign for bitwise, and the same as AND. So if you are using this AND or you want to use the bitwise, so some of the code, if you are reading, sometimes you may see this one. It is the same as the AND. Or is the logical operation is this one, or, and in bitwise you will see this pipe sign, which the same as. So all means that at least one condition must be true, and it qualifies the whole as true. Not, you could see this not, or sometimes you can see this hypothesize and not. Okay, which also means opposite. If it's true, I cannot hit you what negative, that is false. Okay, so once you have not in front of that, to turn everything to that, and then X no. Okay, and then we use this sign for that. So we use all these things for operation wise, the bitwise side, and then we can also use operators for moving maybe left or right. So we use this one. So maybe if left, this is the normal left, but in bitwise we use these two less than sign for left, and then we have the greater than sign for right. Okay, so these ones are bitwise. Okay, so mostly you might be seeing some of them like that. Okay, and then the next point that I want us to look at is the non-type. I've already explained to you the non-type. Like I said, anything none. So for this thing, one thing I want you to know that when you talk about the none, we are not assigning that. We just want to see the state. It means that it doesn't exist. So something we use the is rather than say assign to none. Okay, because we are not assigning the value. We just want you to know that that doesn't exist. So the state means it doesn't exist. So when something doesn't exist, we don't equal. Okay, so we are saying that there's only one non-object in the Python environment. Okay, and all references to none use that same single instance. So this means that equality tests with none are usually replaced by an identity test. Okay, like is. Okay, because it's not, it doesn't, when I say identity, I'm thinking in terms of the memory. Okay, anytime that is the memory storage, the memory address. Okay, so identity, mostly you think in terms of memory address. Equality, you think in terms of value. Okay, so I'm not, because the thing that exists is not in the memory. So it's better you choose what? Identity rather than what? Equality. So sometimes you might see other code like this, but the proper way is this. Okay, the proper way is this, using is none than C equal to none.
Yeah.
I hope it's clear. Okay, so that is what we have there. So none is the default return value of Python function. Now, when it is also it's also often used as a place marker or a flag for a default parameters in function. So none is not a callable. As you can see, none is not a callable, and so cannot be used as convention function type. So you can't convert none like the way we can convert integer, you can convert a string, you can convert a boolean, you can convert none. Okay, because it's not a type. So none, just none, does not exist. But we just want to represent something. You just will need to put something there so that your code will run. Okay, so none is considered to have a Boolean value of false. Okay, so one thing is also know that none, anything that does not exist, which is 0, should have a Boolean of false. So none is considered to have Boolean value of false. Okay, so now let's see. We are seeing that the default of any function that does not have a return type is what? Is none. So let's see something here. I can write a simple function. For now, we've not done any, so just follow. So when you want to write a function, you can say def. Def means definition. And I'll give my function name, let's say addition. So this function is going to do addition. And then I have my parameters in there. So my parameters I'm giving number underscore 1, and then I have my number underscore 2. So I have 2 parameters, and then I need to have block. So now I'll write my code here and see that maybe add addition, and then I'll assign it to number underscore 1 plus number underscore 2. Okay, so now this means that I need to return. So if here I'm not returning any value and I run this code, so for here I'm done with this. So now if I call this function and say print, and I call the function name add, and what am I adding? I'm adding 2 numbers. So I will say that 2, and then I have 3. Okay, these 2 numbers that I'm adding. Okay, so if I run this code, so you could see that it came as what? None. Why? Because say any non-return type will give you none, because under normal circumstance you are supposed to return a value. Okay, so once I'm not returning a value, it will give me what? None as a default. So any function that does not return a value give what? None. Okay, when you write. So now if I want to see it doing the addition for me, I need to return what? The variable that is addition, so that it will be able to give me the result. So here I will come here and then see this. Sorry. So I'll come and then put in the same thing here, but at this time I'm going to return a value. Okay, so the value that I return, I'll put in number
put that one down.
underscore 1 plus number underscore 2. Okay.
Kingsley, I'm losing you.
Hello. Yeah. I'm just explaining the concept to you. The return type. We are saying that for now you don't understand what a function means. Okay. So what I'm saying is to watch, okay, and see that we are saying that if a function does not return any value, it gives us none. So you can see that didn't have any return there. Not that none. Just what that's what I want you to see. Forget about this. You don't understand. Okay. Because you've not done a function, done anything. So that is not my goal is just to see the output what came. So
Okay.
I didn't return anything. Then the none, you saw it there. So now I'm going to return a value. So what I'm returning here, I'm return none. So here I'm returning addition. So now there's a return type. I'm not expecting it to give me that. Okay, so now I'll call my function again and say print addition. So print addition, and then I'll have in there what the value that I'm supposed to, because I have number 1 and number 2. So I'll put in maybe 4, and then I'll put in 5. Okay, so once I run this code, it should give me, the spelling. Oh, okay. There's addition. Oh, sorry. Instead of me calling the function name, I was calling addition. So the function name was add. Okay.
Yeah.
A function name add. So I should call the add. Then I was calling addition down there. Okay. So I'll close this one and run. So now you could see that it gave me what, 7. But the one that without any return, it gave me none. Okay. Because you see that I was returning what, addition here. So once you return, so you see any function without a returning type, give what, none. That is the default. So that's what we have here. Okay, we are saying that what here by default parameter in function. So none is not callable and cannot be used as a convention function to convert other type to none. None is considered to have a Boolean value of what, false. Okay, and I say none is the default return value of a Python function. So if maybe I'm not returning anything, by default it will give you what, none. I hope you've gotten that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so forget about the code. I know you don't understand that one. So just the explanation to get. Okay. So the last point that we have to look at is the collection types, which I did explain to you. Okay. The collection type, like type list. Okay, so the collection type are strings, bytes, tuple, list, dictionaries, and sets. And we see that follow a sequence. Okay, follow a sequence before you look through that and stuff. For now, I don't want to write any loop code you don't understand, but just for you to understand that these are the collection types. Okay, and they are tuple, list, dictionary, set. Okay, a string. Okay, so these are the collection data type. We've done the integer and all those things. Okay, and these are the collection data types that you want to go through. Okay, so you could get more information about that. Okay, from here. Okay, we'll get more information about it if you want to. But one thing that I want you to take note is that a collection data types are what we call attributable. Okay, attributable means that you can attribute over, because it follow a sequence for maybe a list. If I want to print the list of an item, I can use a loop to just print it instead of me printing it one by one. Okay, so we call it iterable. Okay, iterable means the Python iteration protocol means that you can loop through, that is used in loop construction. Okay, a simple term is iterable object that you can use in loop construction. Okay, so most of the collection types that you see here, tuple, list, dictionary, set, they are iterable because you can loop a string, you can loop. Okay, so but then you cannot loop what? You cannot loop what? And a float. Okay, you cannot, because it's not that. So let me take that opportunity to explain to you, and then you can check. Let me do, forget if you don't understand, just the explanation purpose. Okay, so I'm going to create a list of students, a list students. So just for explanation purpose, a list students. So now in this list, we use this sign, open square bracket for a list. Okay, so I'm going to give the name. Let's say now list item. So I have here in okay, so these are a list that I'm having. Okay, now you could see that with this list, individual item that we call here, what you see, maybe like king, like bar, like total, these ones are what we call elements of the list. Okay, so each element is being occupied by a position. So you can see here, this is position what? 0. In computing, we start counting from 0. So position 0, position 2. So if I want to get access to the first one, I can say list underscore name, list underscore student. That is the list name.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll have my open and close square brackets, and I'll give the position. So this is the position 0. So this one is going to give me the first item. So you see, like Ken. If I want to get the next one, I'll use the next position, which is position 1. So position 1 is going to give me position 1 is going to give me bar. Okay, and then position 2 also will give me total. Okay, so this is what I have. Now, instead of me doing it one by one, for instance, if you have 1,000 lists, are you going to do it one by one like this? So that's where a loop comes in handy. Okay, so I can loop through this and give this. So I can write a simple loop and say for maybe name in the list. Okay, so in list underscore student. So list underscore student, and then I'll put it in the loop. So here I'll write what? I can print it out. So I can say print. I can say print name. Okay, so here this one is going to give me all the names. So you can see here I have what? King, bar, total. Okay, so that tells you that it's an iterable. Okay, you can loop through. So you can see the collection type